Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked up at your range hood filter? I mean, really looked at it. If you're anything like most people, it's probably been a while. And if you did look up there recently, you might have seen something that made your stomach drop a little. That dark, sticky, yellowish brown coating clinging to the metal mesh. That greasy buildup that seems almost impossible to remove. That filter that used to be shiny silver but now looks like it belongs in a mechanic's garage instead of your kitchen. I know, I've been there. And if you've ever tried scrubbing that thing by hand with a sponge and dish soap, you already know how discouraging that experience is. You scrub and scrub, your arms get tired, and the grease just laughs at you and stays right where it is. It's one of those cleaning jobs that feels completely hopeless, and most people just give up and live with it. Or they assume they need some expensive professional cleaning product, or a heavy-duty dishwasher on the hottest setting just to make a dent in it. But here's what I want to tell you today, and I really want you to stay with me because this is going to surprise you. You do not need a dishwasher. You do not need expensive chemicals. You do not need to scrub until your arms give out. All you need are a few simple items you already have sitting in your kitchen right now, about 10 minutes of your time, and a method that actually works. A method that dissolves that grease instead of just pushing it around. A method that is completely safe, affordable, and simple enough for anyone to do. By the end of this video, your range hood filter is going to look so clean and shiny that you might not even recognize it. And once you see how easy this really is, you're going to wonder why you waited so long. So let's get into it. Before we jump into the cleaning process, let's talk for just a moment about what you're actually dealing with up there on that filter. Because when you understand the enemy, you know how to fight it better. Every single time you cook on your stove, whether you're frying up some bacon in the morning, sautéing onions for dinner, or cooking anything at all with oil or butter, tiny grease particles float up into the air along with the steam and smoke. Your range hood is designed to pull all of that up and away from your kitchen. And that metal mesh filter, it's the one doing all the hard work. It catches those grease particles before they float around and coat your cabinets and walls. So in a very real way, a greasy filter means your range hood has been doing its job. But here's the problem. Over time, all that grease builds up layer by layer. It hardens, it oxidizes, it turns from a light, oily film into that thick, dark, sticky coating that seems like it's practically baked on. And once grease reaches that stage, regular dish soap and a sponge just aren't powerful enough to cut through it on their own. Here's the part that most people don't realize. Grease is not just dirty. It's a specific type of substance that bonds strongly to surfaces, especially metal. To break it down, you need something that targets that bond directly. Not just soap, not just water. You need a combination of things that work together to dissolve, lift, and release that grease from the metal mesh. And the good news is, nature has already given us exactly what we need. It's probably sitting in your pantry right now. There's another thing worth mentioning too. A clogged, greasy range hood filter doesn't just look bad, it actually stops working properly. When grease fills up those tiny holes in the mesh, air can't flow through as well. That means your range hood becomes less effective at ventilating your kitchen. Smoke and cooking odors linger longer. And over time, a severely clogged filter can even become a fire hazard. So cleaning this filter isn't just about appearances, it's about keeping your kitchen safe and functioning the way it should. What you need. Now, let's talk about what you're going to need for this cleaning method. And I promise nothing on this list is going to send you running to a specialty store. Every single item here is something you almost certainly already own. First, you're going to need a large pot or a large baking dish. It needs to be big enough to fully submerge your range hood filter, or at least most of it. A roasting pan or a large stock pot both work beautifully for this. Second, you need boiling water. We're going to use very hot water as the foundation of this method, and the heat is absolutely essential to making this work. Hot water alone begins to soften and loosen that grease before we add anything else to it. Third, you need baking soda, plain old baking soda from the orange box. You probably have a box in your pantry or your refrigerator right now. Baking soda is a mild alkali, which means it's chemically effective at breaking down grease and oils. It's also completely non-toxic, safe to handle, and costs almost nothing. Fourth, you need dish soap. Any standard liquid dish soap will work. Dawn is a popular choice and works very well, but whatever brand you have on hand is just fine. Dish soap is specifically formulated to cut through grease, and when you combine it with baking soda and boiling water, you get a cleaning solution that is genuinely powerful. You'll also want a pair of rubber gloves to protect your hands, since we're working with hot water and a cleaning solution. A soft brush, like an old toothbrush or a small scrub brush, will come in handy for any stubborn spots, and you'll want some paper towels or a clean cloth for drying at the end. That's it. That is your entire supply list. No fancy products, no trips to the hardware store, no expensive specialty cleaners. Just simple, trusted household staples, doing what they do best. Step-by-step process. All right, let's get into the actual cleaning process. Take a deep breath and remember, this is simpler than it looks. Just follow along one step at a time, and you're going to do great. Step 1. Remove the filter. The very first thing you need to do is take the filter out of your range hood. I know this sounds obvious, but a lot of people feel nervous about this step because they've never done it before. Don't worry. On almost every range hood model, the filter simply slides out or unclips. If yours has a latch or a small handle on the underside of the hood, just push it toward you and the filter will drop down slightly, then slide right out. If you're unsure, check your range hood's manual or simply do a quick search for your specific model. But in most cases, it's really a very straightforward process. No tools needed. Once you have the filter out, take a look at it. I mean, really look at it. Notice how gunked up it is? That's okay. That's why we're here. Just set it aside for a moment while we get our cleaning solution ready. Step 2. Boil the water and prepare your cleaning solution. Now bring a large pot of water to a full rolling boil on your stove. You want the water to be as hot as possible because heat is one of your most powerful tools in this process. Heat softens and begins to melt that hardened grease, making it much easier for the baking soda and soap to do their job. While your water is heating up, place your filter into your large baking dish, roasting pan, or your sink if it's big enough. Then get your baking soda and dish soap ready. Once the water is boiling, carefully pour it over the filter until it's fully submerged or covered as much as possible. Be very careful during this step. Use oven mitts if needed and pour slowly. Safety first, always. Now, while the water is still hot and steaming, add about a quarter cup of baking soda directly into the water. You're going to see it fizz and bubble. That's completely normal and actually a sign that it's starting to work. The baking soda is activating in the hot water and beginning its grease-fighting action. Then add a generous squirt of dish soap, maybe a tablespoon or so. Give it a very gentle stir with a long spoon to combine everything. Step 3. Let it soak. This is the step that does most of the work, and it's also the easiest one because all you have to do is wait. Let that filter sit and soak in the hot baking soda and dish soap solution for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Here's what's happening during that soak that makes this method so effective. The hot water is penetrating and softening the grease layers. The baking soda, being an alkali, is breaking down the chemical bonds in the grease, essentially dissolving it from the inside out. And the dish soap is surrounding the loosened grease particles and lifting them away from the metal surface. They are all working together at the same time, so that by the time you come back to this filter, the grease is already doing most of the work of coming off on its own. While you're waiting, this is a great time to wipe down the outside of your range hood with a damp cloth. You'll be amazed at how much grease has collected on the surface too. A little warm soapy water on a cloth will handle that beautifully. Step 4. Scrub and rinse. After your soak time is up, put on your rubber gloves and get your scrub brush or old toothbrush ready. Lift the filter out of the solution slightly and begin to gently scrub the mesh. And here's where you're going to get a very satisfying surprise. That grease that seemed completely impossible to remove, it is going to come right off, almost effortlessly. Work your brush in small circular motions across the mesh on both sides. You'll see that dark, greasy buildup releasing and floating away into the solution. Pay extra attention to any spots that seem a little more stubborn. A bit of extra scrubbing with the toothbrush on those areas will take care of them. But in most cases, you'll find that the grease is sliding off with very little effort. Once you've scrubbed all the surfaces thoroughly, take the filter to your sink and rinse it under hot running water. Rinse it well, making sure all the soap, baking soda, and loosened grease are completely washed away. Hold it up to the light as you rinse it and watch those mesh holes clear up beautifully as the last of the grease washes away. If you notice a small patch of residue still clinging in one spot, simply apply a tiny bit of dish soap directly to your brush and give it one more quick scrub under the hot running water. That should take care of any remaining stubborn areas with no problem. Step 5. Dry and reinstall. Almost done now. Once your filter is fully rinsed and clean, lay it flat on some paper towels or a clean, dry cloth and let it air dry for a few minutes. You can also gently pat it dry with a cloth if you're in a hurry. Just make sure it's reasonably dry before you put it back into the range hood. Once it's dry, simply slide it back into place in your range hood, exactly the way it came out. You'll hear or feel it click back into position. And just like that, the job is done. Final results. Now step back and take a look at what you've just accomplished. That filter that came out looking dark and greasy and honestly a little embarrassing, look at it now. The mesh is open and clear. The metal is shiny. You can actually see light coming through the holes the way it's supposed to. Your range hood filter looks clean. And not just surface clean, but genuinely deeply clean. And here's something that's going to happen that you might not expect. Your range hood is actually going to work better now. You'll notice it pulling air more effectively when you cook. You'll notice cooking odors leaving the kitchen faster, because now that the mesh is clear and open, air can flow through the way it was designed to. There's also a satisfaction in this that is hard to describe until you experience it yourself. You looked at a problem that seemed overwhelming. You gathered simple tools, you followed a straightforward process, and you completely transformed something that looked like it might need to be thrown away into something clean and functional again. That feeling, that quiet pride of having done it yourself with things you already had at home, is genuinely one of the best feelings there is. And if you're thinking, well, mine is probably too far gone to come clean this well, I want to encourage you. This method works on even very heavily soiled filters. Even if yours has years of buildup on it, you might need 2 soaking sessions instead of 1, or a little more scrubbing time, but it works. This is a tested, trusted method, and it will work for you. Maintenance tips. Now that your filter is clean, let's talk about how to keep it that way so you never have to deal with that extreme buildup again. The key to easy maintenance is simply doing this more regularly. If you cook frequently, aim to clean your range hood filter once a month. If you cook less often, every 2 to 3 months is fine. When you clean it regularly, the grease never has a chance to harden and build up into those stubborn layers. Each cleaning session becomes faster and easier than the last. Another helpful habit is to run your range hood fan every single time you cook, even if you're just warming something up or boiling water. The more consistently you use it, the more it protects your kitchen surfaces. And when you clean the filter regularly, all of that protection stays effective. You can also do a quick wipe down of the exterior of your range hood during your regular kitchen cleaning routine. A damp cloth with a little dish soap keeps the outside looking neat and prevents grease from building up on the surfaces around the filter opening. Small habits done consistently make a very big difference over time. And once you see how quick and easy this cleaning method is, keeping up with it regularly won't feel like a chore at all. And there you have it, my friend, a completely clean, completely restored range hood filter, accomplished in about 10 minutes with no dishwasher, no expensive products, and nothing more complicated than boiling water, baking soda, and dish soap. Simple, affordable, and it actually works. I hope this made you feel confident and capable, because you absolutely are. This is the kind of cleaning win that reminds you that you don't need to spend a lot of money or have fancy equipment to take really good care of your home. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones that have been sitting in your pantry all along. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you tried cleaning your range hood filter before? Did you have a method that worked, or did you struggle with it the way so many people do? Drop your experience in the comments below. I read every single one, and I would love to know how this method works out for you when you try it. And if this video helped you today, would you do me a small favor? Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Every week, I share simple, practical, tried and true cleaning tips just like this one, designed to make your home easier to care for and your life a little less stressful. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to tackle another one of the most neglected spots in the kitchen, and I think you might be just as surprised by how easy it is to clean as you were today. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now go take that filter out, give it the cleaning it deserves, and enjoy the satisfaction of a kitchen that's a little bit cleaner, a little bit safer, and a whole lot more sparkling than it was before. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.